Hey, we're live. Hey, good morning. This is the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show, and yes, we are late today. It is 8:36 a.m. on the Eastern Standard Time. This is our 475th episode, and sorry I'm late. It's been a long day. We got the ship. We're going to talk about ships. They go across the sea a little bit. It's good having kids. Get to use all their toys in the show. Anyway, 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. I am Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach, and I hope you're doing well today. It's December. Only a couple more days left in the year, right? The end of the year is coming. All this stuff's getting done. Everybody wants to put stuff in before the end of the year, and the budgets are end and things like that. Get ready for the new year. So I could talk about a lot of things. Why do we do this? Oh, yeah, that's right. We do this because we want to talk about being practical and tactical and implementing. One thing I noticed, my glasses are all messed up. Implementing Agile and Scrum and a way that lets you to get value to the customer, get home to a decent hour, have some fun. As I said, I posted up some pictures of our co-host Eddie firing off a cannon, over the Thanksgiving holiday. That was fun. Getting a chance to take advantage of the opportunity. And I don't know, not work 60, 80 hours a week. I don't know. Maybe that's a good thing, especially during the holidays. I'm waiting for everybody to take off, and they go, you can't all take off all at once. I go, well, you didn't let them take off all year long, so you're going to pay the piper because they worked too many hours and they never stopped and they were so behind and they get a chance to take time off. So guess what? They're going to take it at the end of the year, and then people are going to wonder why they're not getting production at the end of the year. Let me think. Logic. Anyway, what we can talk about today. Blah, blah. So I want to talk about one. I want to give you feeling lucky today. Yesterday afternoon, why I didn't do shows yesterday besides all the other stuff, kids going back to school online. They're online now, so I don't have no idea how this is getting broadcast. Got a lot of bandwidth going through our system right now. Neighbor's house around the corner, caught on fire. Yeah, fire. There's a fire about 11 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday. I felt bad for them. I lost a couple floors in their house. So I think it's still there. Structurally, it's still sound. It's just a lot of damage. I tried to help them out later on in the afternoon, but feeling lucky that it wasn't our house or things we could do and what can we do to prevent that. But, praying for them. Hope they come out of it and helping where I can. I'm not going in their house, but help clean up around the house. At least they don't see all the glass everywhere. So that was an adventure, a real fire drill, technically and literally. And today I want to talk about those Agile accountants out there and time and concentrating on the wrong things. I mean, I could talk about where I work. I don't want to talk about where I work. Lots of stuff because that's where that is. And I bring up stories from the past that I have encountered over many, many years of working. And this story I'm going to bring up from when I was in my 20s, in my 30s, early 30s. But I want to talk about the Agile accountants and what they do on the timelines they work at and what I believe is really not a good investment and return on investment for corporations or bringing value to a customer. Sometimes it does. So I'm going to talk about two things. I'm going to talk about CD, continuous delivery, and some of the technologies that are out there, and also tracking tasks. So I'm going to talk about those two things today. First, I'm going to tell you a story. And you're like, well, how does this relate to what we're doing? Well, as a coach, we get to tell stories every once in a while from all years of experience. So that's why I got the pirate ship. I got the pirate ship, sit at the sea. So why the pirate ship? Many, many years ago, I used to work for the Navy logistics. I used to do a lot of logistics stuff for the Navy, cranking a lot of data. So when people ask me about, do you know anything about data? I'm like, yeah, I've been doing it since it was just a DB3, DB4 file hacked into the mainframe and calculating all the ships in return and all the infrastructure for the Navy, moving their stuff, the retrograde back to the shore. So one of the things we'd have very valuable items. We used to call them crown jewels, things worth over $30,000. People say, well, $30,000 isn't a lot of money. But back in the 90s, $30,000 was a lot of money. That was my year's salary, right? So we would track these things and try to get them back, fix them, get them back in the fleet, because we didn't want to buy all this material. It's expensive, right? And trust me, the military doesn't have that much money for day-to-day operations. So here's the thing. So I have a ship, right? And I'll put a little flag, whatever. The ship has some stuff on it, like boxes that they used, maybe some electronics, some components. This green pen doesn't really work too much. The blue pen works better, I think. Let's see if I can find myself a blue pen. I have a whole stuff. Here's a purple pen. It's purple. So yeah, that's much better. So we have our ship is in the water, right? So we ship a package back by helicopter. Helicopter, and then would go to land somewhere here on a dock. And there's big skyscrapers, whatever. So that's land, and they would ship it back, right? So one of the things we did, we looked at some time, and I would crunch all the data, and we're at the 6-minute mark. I don't do too far. And there was a little bit of time, small time, very small time here on board ship, and maybe very small time here. But then sometimes these packages could take 3 months to 6 months, maybe even a year to get back to shore. And the reason why, they would maybe not transfer all the way back there, but maybe there was another little tiny boat here, and they would go from package to this little boat, and this little boat would float around, and until this little boat got to the dock, it would float around that little boat, because they just want to make room for more stuff on the battleships, right? Aircraft carriers, okay? To make room for that. So, but here's what everybody was looking at. They would concentrate here and here and put all their work into there. However, the thing's been sitting out for 6 months. Maybe this would be 20 days. And the idea, they wanted to get it down to 5 days on average, which is great. And here, seconds, 1 hour, hours, right? So they concentrate on tracking here, or at least putting a tag on stuff like you see in UPS, doing your Amazon stuff. They tag it when it leaves the factory. Then it goes on its long journey, and then it finally gets to the place. So this might be the U.S. Post Office lately, right? This is U.S. Post Office. So it's going to take 20 days to get our packages during the holidays, but we want it down to 5 days, right? So USPS. So they would concentrate on making this efficient. My problem was, I'm saying the stuff's been sitting out for 30 days. We need to figure out how to fix this bigger time box than worrying about this smaller time box. And this is how I think about CI/CD. So that's the time box. Now, in this world, this is your CD, right? This is the development. Right? This is the idea. Okay? So that's what that would be. However, I would say there's a whole business side over here. We could talk about that later. But this is where the CD is. The CD is this 20 days to 5 days is what everybody's looking at. Hey, we don't want to take 2 weeks to drop code. We want to get it done in 5 minutes, right? So that's the difference I want to talk about a little bit from a CI/CD perspective. So think about it. On a CD perspective, it's nice having it. If you have it set up where everything gets checked, and you're not playing with settings and all, and it automatically updates. Because let's face it, there are chances for someone who migrating code from one environment to another one to miss a switch, a configuration, something that prevents the code from working correctly. And that could be a problem. And that's one of the benefits of CD. However, to spend all our time figuring out what it would really take for a person to hit a button versus having a computer push a button, are you really getting your return on investment? You're worrying about something that's been in code and development for 6 months. 6 months is like the time aboard ship, right? 6 months that only takes a couple hours for someone in, or a day. Let's say it takes 2 days. Let's say it takes 2 days to take what was in development ready to go. The last 2 days of that 6-month journey for the service people to implement that code in their production servers. 2 days. First 6 months of work. So we're concentrating all this effort, all this technology at the last thing that takes 2 days versus stuff that takes 6 months. There is value in it, but really seriously, if I'm talking about how much labor and time and dollars and everything that's expended in that 6 months, and I don't invest anything on how to make that work better, and I spend all this tech and all this stuff to make that last 2-day thing get down to 5 minutes, when I'm usually just 1 or 2 people doing that, is that a return on investment? I would argue not. There are benefits to it, but having all that geared up for that little transition, yeah. I mean, the technology nowadays, it's inexcusable not to have it in this day and age. A couple of years ago when I was doing this stuff where it would take a couple of days to get stuff done, versus today where it shouldn't take long as all this work is done in advance, fine. But we're working on this stuff to make the last 2 days work when we spend 6 months to a year building these products. Just saying. So what I try to do is help for that 6 months to a year part. I want to revolutionize that. Take that 6 months to a year and crunch it down to a month, crunch it down to 2 weeks, crunch it down to a day. Okay? So I'm going to take a 6-month project, crunch it down to a 3-month project, crunch it down to a 2-week project, because I got multiple teams and scale to deliver that product in that time. So who's returning value to the customer? The 2 days or 6 months? I think it's maybe 6 months. That's what Scrum and Agile gets you. So think about when you spend all that money technology on something that used to only take 2 days. And yes, it was a pain in the butt and get it spun up. There's technology out there that can do it. And I'm a very big proponent of all that technology. But I want everybody realistic and say, look at all the money I saved because I did it. Well, no. We want to get it smaller. Now, taking that CD, now applying it instead of once a year, every 6 months, to every year to every 2 weeks, then that's where the CD comes into place, where you do the continuous delivery and automate all that stuff. If you're going to plan as to where I want everybody to be, dropping code every day or every couple days, then that's helpful because there's an automated process and it doesn't take 2 days. So now is when that 2 days becomes more important, okay? And that's where the CI/CD comes from. So if we write the code and it takes every week, we want to drop code, or every 2 weeks, whatever you want to do. So that's 10 days. If in the old days it would take 2 days, that would be 20% of our time. Then CD makes a lot of sense. But for those organizations who want to invest all this money in CD that are dropping code, once a year, once a month, every couple months, every 6 months, 3, whatever it is, yeah, the CD's not getting you anything because that's only 2 days out of 6 months, right? So that's one of the things. And then the Agile Accountants. And why the pirate ship? Because I only got 2 minutes left, so I'm going to talk about that real quick. So the reason why pirate ships never came to port and they went out to sea because they had more freedom to do what they want floating around for that 6 months. As soon as they came in the port, guess who said, "Ooh, what you got on the ship? Who do you want to tax it?" The Agile Accountants would come and micromanage your butts. So be careful on the tasking things. So we talked about time, big projects, do that. Now be careful when you start using these JIRA systems and then these Agile Accountants come out of work with, "Oh boy, goody, we could track everything you do every minute of the day." Great. I never want to come to port. I don't want to use a system because you had so much overhead. I don't get to do what I do and make the fun stuff and sail the seas, right? So be careful on tasks and subtasks. People want to think, well, you have this data. Now we can track it. I like using that data for experiments in the team. Like, do we spend a lot of time on this as a team? Can we efficientize that team? But these agile accountants want to do and look at the whole entire organization, and you can't make that in much of an impact across the organization. So everybody goes to the bathroom and takes them 20 minutes to go to the bathroom because there's now a task. If you want to go to the bathroom, you got to put a task in, right? So what you have to watch out for is that you're tracking too detailed, right? Down to stuff that gets done within a day. When I coach teams or organization, when it gets down to stuff less than a day, I don't care. As long as the work's done, don't really care. There's some people want to track down every 15 minutes. I'm like, you spend more money tracking that 15 minutes than you do the value of that 15 minutes. Just saying. So that's what I got today. I think we'll probably hit the Agile Accountants a little bit more on another day and tracking down to subtasks and the dangers of doing that. But I just want to say, hey, be thankful. I'm very thankful for what opportunities are out there, and keep on trucking. I just want to share happiness thoughts with you. Everybody's okay. And we can move on. We can still have another day to try again, right? Sometimes things are bad. Ring the little bell, but happy thought, happy scrumming. Get home to your family and friends. Go over and shoot off a cannon sometime. It's fun. Kids love it. He talks about it every day. Anyway, have a great day. Enjoy your day and take care. Bye. See ya.